Hello everyone. This video is going to be about MyAgileStory.com. MyAgileStory.com is a website I created hooked up to a database to do agile planning and to put user stories and bugs into it to do planning for a software project. I actually use it for my software projects, so I'm going to show you how I use it for that. To use MyAgileStory, you have to create an account. So let's do that. Once you've entered your information, you hit Add Developer. And then you go in here and you log in. Once you're logged in, you'll have a blank screen here. There's really not much on here at this point because there's no projects or anything. But let me just explain what some of the buttons are. So this is the to-do list for your project. This is your sprint. This is your verify. This is your you're done. And then this is your burn down chart. If you don't know what any of those are, look up some agile planning and it should be explained. Right here we have a new project button and edit user and log out. So first thing we do is we create a new project. Just call it test for this example. And then under here, there's a drop down where you can choose that project. Now you notice there will be more icons available now. This next icon here is user story. This is create a bug. This is your edit your user details and logout. So let's do the first thing we should do, just for example, is to create a user story. So if you don't know what a user story is, basically a user story is a way to write features for your product in the perspective of the customer. So I've added a user story in the perspective of one of my customers, let's say for embroidery wear. They've been asking for script lettering for a long time, so that's the title for this. And then if you look at it from their perspective, they would say, as an embroiderer, I want script lettering so that I can make recipe towels for friends. So in this case, really the reason they want to do this is they want to have something they can give to their friends that's special. So that's really where the derived value is from this user story, is giving them the capability to do that. Then also under here under acceptance criteria, you can write some tests that you would do. So for example, the lettering would have to be fluid, it does not pucker. Those are things that would be tested perhaps on the machine, but the program can have something to do with that as far as making things a certain way. And then down here at conversation, you could have some other thoughts that maybe this would lead to other user stories. Like in this case, there might be settings for pucker that are needed. Then down below, the estimate is in what's called points. We don't put it in hours or man days or people days or anything like that. We estimate it using points, and the point system generally is from 0 to 5. Anything over 5 generally should be broken up into more than one story. And then we have the priority of the story. It doesn't need to have anything yet. Percent complete would be 0 and sprint would be 0. So then we just press add story. The next thing I want to talk about is adding bugs. Now, generally in agile planning, you don't put bugs on your agile board, but there's a debate about that. And in my case, where I have a very small company, don't really need to have them split apart. I put the bugs on the agile board so I can actually plan a sprint, including bugs as well as new features. The bug dialog has typical things you would see in most bug tracking softwares. We have title. In this case, the PDF manual does not open. And then the summary would be what would be printed on the card in the main view. And so in this case, the PDF manual does not open under the help menu. So then under that, you have what steps you need to reproduce it so the software engineers can try it out and see what's going on. And then the expected results are that Adobe Acrobat will load the manual from its online source. The actual results when this complaint came in is the user was not connected to the internet, so therefore it didn't open anything. The resolution perhaps could be, and this is not really needed when you enter the bug, but this is like a completed bug or a direction for the bug, If the manual is not available online, local version is shipped with the product will be open instead. And then you got your test criteria. Again, you have your estimate, percent complete, priority, etc., just like you do on a user story. So you add the bug, and then you have a second card here with the bug. So what's neat about this is at this point, we can order them as far as priorities. So let's say script lettering is not as important as the manual because people are really complaining about that. You just slide the priority slider over here. We slid this priority to a low priority of 10, and this is a priority of 1. And so the bug will be worked on first. The project I'm showing you here is actually the project I'm actually using for embroidery. So if you look in here in the backlog, I have several user stories and bugs for a potential future release. I already did a release recently. So if you go, if I click on to the done part and go down to the last sprint, I did all these things for sprint 3. Some of them were bugs, some of them were features, and I have 2 other sprints here too. Now, if you look, if you assume that my to-do list essentially is product complete. Generally, when I do a sprint, I actually am doing a release per sprint that the customer gets. But let's say this is all that we're going to do for this particular product release. You can look at the burn down chart and you can kind of see the estimated uh, velocity of this particular project and what sprint it's going to end up being finished at. So in this last sprint, I did 15 items, 15 story points out of a to-do list of 22 uh, that are still left in the backlog. And then at the beginning, you can just hover over the graphic and you can see how long the sprint is. This sprint was 15. The sprint 2 was kind of short. I think there was probably a bug or something that had to be fixed. And then sprint 3 was about the same size as sprint 1. So let me go about how I might plan the next sprint. All these sprints are marked as 0 and they don't get included in the burn down chart if they're marked 0. But if I go through this list and I say to myself, well, you know, nautical lettering, that's probably a summer thing. We'll just move that down in priority. Hypnocoid saving, that's kind of a nice to have. Thieves envelope does not work. Customers are complaining about that, so definitely keep that there. Uh, Bookie lettering has gaps, so keep that there. String art crosses holes. String art's something that people never really use, so put that at a lower priority. Hypnocoid, I can't say that word, but that's kind of like a spiral art thing. It's kind of neat. This might be kind of like a nice, delightful thing for customers, so I might keep that kind of as a medium priority. And seasonal designs, those take a lot of time. Large designs, that's a big project. You can see it has 10 story points. So for the next release, we really probably don't want to take that on. So basically, we've kind of ordered what we have here. So let's say we're going to just do story points, so about maybe 8 or so for the next sprint. To send these to the sprint, you just press the little sprint button and it gets sent to the sprint. So we're going to do these 3. Let's see. Yeah, we'll leave those like that. So if you go to the sprint, now you will see the 3 things that we are going to work on. Actually, there was one more here. Where is it? Well, let's just do nautical lettering for the fun of it. That's almost done anyway. Uh, so we'll put that in there too. So then if you click on the sprint, these are the things that we're going to do in our next sprint. So in each of these, we're going to want to assign the sprint number. So the sprint number would be 4. So we'll do that for all of them. Now that we've designated them to be sprint 4, we can kind of think about the priorities. So let's say we wanted to do them in this particular order. Maybe we want to do the bugs last and do the features first because maybe the features will reveal opportunities for the bugs that aren't there. So we'll just put the bugs at the, oh, didn't do that right. We'll put the bugs at the end of the project, and then we'll have the features at the beginning. And let's do the nautical lettering second. Yeah. Do the nautical lettering after the hypocrite saving, and then we'll do the theme bug, or let's say we'll just do the bookie bug before the thieves bug. And so now we've ordered our priority for the project. Now, if you look at the burn down chart, we now have a fourth sprint here, and you can see our velocity potentially is going to be predicted to be that. It all depends on how quickly we do this. And so we should be done with the whole feature set by the sixth sprint. Uh, Now let's say we are actually ready for these to be tested. We can go and we can press the test buttons, and we now have them in the test section. So now the testers can take these bugs over, or not bugs, bugs and features. And let's say they are testing them and they finished 50% of it. At a glance, you can see how much the stories have been finished and the bugs have been finished. One thing that's neat about MyAgileStory is that since it's online and it's being saved to a database, you could have people in more than one location access the same information, and it would update dynamically. So for example, if I were to change the hypocrite saving name to hypocrite saving new, you'll see that in both places it updates. And so people can make changes together dynamically. So you can collaborate on projects. So that's about all I have for MyAgileStory. Thank you for watching the video. I hope that you can play with it and give me some feedback on what you might want to see changed or added to the program. I had a lot of fun creating it, and I actively use it for my projects, and I really like it.